Hello, good morning. Well, today's class, I'll get started in just a minute here, but it's really about calming our fragmented and scattered thoughts. So I'm kind of calling my theme this week defragmentation, which is a tech term, but it's for your computer, and you run this process to kind of pull all these scattered files into one cohesive place, and it makes it run smoother. And I like to think of our minds as very similar to a computer in a lot of ways, but when we take the time to draw inward, we can begin to calm the scattered mind, especially when you are a caretaker, a mom, a dad, or even corporate jobs. Many jobs are like this, but you feel pulled in many directions. You have a lot of things to get done. The to-do list seems endless. You can't even focus on one thing. And that's the best time to just stop what you're doing, pause, and breathe and draw inward. So today's practice is dedicated to this idea of drawing inside of yourself and calming your mind. So if you have props available, I'm going to suggest 2 blocks and then maybe a blanket today. We may or may not need it, but just depending, there's certain poses that it could be helpful for. And if you don't have blocks, grab a couple books or something that you can just help hold yourself up if you have it available. All right, let's get started. So coming to an easy seat, just whatever's comfortable for you this morning. And you can place your blanket under your sits bones if you like. We'll only be here for a few moments. But just beginning to sit with a long, tall spine. And begin to shrug the shoulders up together and down the back. And take a few breaths, drawing your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you. Make sure any flesh is out from under the sits bones. With our breath, we begin to find the quietness within. As you draw the breath in, imagine pulling it in from the crown of your head all the way down into your tailbone on the inhale. And as you exhale, the breath travels from the tailbone out through the crown of the head. Notice the lengthening of your spine as you breathe. And then beginning to take a soft gaze at the third eye. So if this is new to you, the third eye is really in the very center of our brains. It's the center of our cells. And to tap into that, you can imagine sort of gazing out for the middle of your brain through this space just between your eyebrows. Take a really soft gaze. You're not staring hard at something. You are just imagining, in a way, this space. Eyes are soft, resting easy in the sockets. Continuing to focus the third eye. Beginning to notice expansion in your body as you inhale and exhale. Expansion from all directions. The belly, the ribs, the back, the chest. And as you exhale, everything softens. It's this ebb and flow of our breath. So if we're expanding out on the inhale and coming back in on the inhale. Keeping your gaze soft at the third eye center. Just beginning to draw inward, and noticing how the breath can expand, moving energy through the body, and soften as we exhale. Even the back of your heart, the back of your head, imagine every part of your body expanding with the breath. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, I invite you to do that now. So maybe just about coming into the center of you and using this next 30 minutes to tap into that center. Gently blink the eyes open. Lift the gaze, and let's come down onto our backs today to start. We're going to start with a dynamic bridge pose. So slowly lower all the way down. Feet planted firmly. You should be able to graze your heels with your fingertips. Draw your shoulder blades under. We're going to do this pose where when we come up, we're going to lift our arms up with us, and when we exhale, we're going to come down. But think about pressing your low back in the mat before you begin to lift, and this will help protect your low back, and it really lengthens the spine. So inhaling for 4, press your low back, inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Press your low back, inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. One more round. Inhale, press the low back first. Lift up for 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Gently roll over onto your side, press yourself up, and come to the back of your mat, standing. So we're going to start actually in Uttanasana, but let's find our grounding first. So feet are hip-width distance apart, ground down, lift through the chest, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. A really nice big bend through your knees to start. And we're going to be here for a few minutes, so it might become a little bit uncomfortable. So I always like to close my eyes. I'm going to grab for opposite elbows. Bend your knees enough so your belly rests on your thighs. And begin to send your sits bones up towards the sky. Draw your eyes closed. And come back to your center. So gently focusing on the third eye. Sits bones continue to lift and expand away from each other. So we're going to hold this pose a little longer than maybe is comfortable. And coming back to your breath. Allowing your breath to expand the body in all directions, just as when we were seated. And noticing the symmetry of your body in this pose. So we have a tendency to always notice our asymmetries. So left shoulder doesn't match right shoulder, or your hips, whatever it is. Let's notice the symmetry of our body before we notice the asymmetry. And continuing to breathe, sending your sits bones high, feeling the separation between the sits bones as we hold. Now switch your grip. So grab for the opposite elbow of what you were doing. We're going to hold here for a little bit longer. Drawing into yourself. Coming inward, noticing that ebb and flow of the breath. Using your Ujjayi breath. Gentle Ujjayi breath. Think about coming into the center of you with each exhale. The inhale expands out in all directions, and the exhale relaxes and releases. Couple more breaths. I know it might be a little uncomfortable holding this pose so long. Today's class is really about slowing down and drawing inward. Not always pushing so hard. One more breath. Release the fingertips. Slowly walk yourself out to a down dog. You can take a nice deep bend in your knees to start. So gaze is still down and back between your feet, maybe between your knees, feet hip-width distance apart. Index fingers pointed at 12 o'clock or maybe 1 o'clock. Get really long through your spine. You can even do a little weight shift side to side. Think about lengthening through your underarms, your rib cage, your side body. Now begin to press slightly. Maybe you need a few pedals, especially as this is our first down dog. And release down to your knees. Moving through a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, lower the belly. Tailbone towards the one wall, crown of the head towards the other, so lengthening apart from each other. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale to cow, broadening through the collarbones. As you exhale, navel comes towards the spine, press the shoulder blades apart. Take another round, noticing the symmetry of your body. From front to back, top to bottom. Come back through center. Sink your hips for just a moment. Child's pose. Stretch your fingertips long. And begin to come on up. Coming back to downward facing dog. Hips go high. Press your heels long through your spine. Sits bones towards the ceiling. Inhale, gently bring your right knee towards your nose. Step it all the way through. Runner's lunge. Grab your blocks if you have them, or come up on fingertips if you don't. Gaze forward on your inhale. Press your left hip down. Feel the stretch on the left hip flexor. Exhale, lower your left knee to the mat. Pause here, still stretching through that left hip flexor. Modified Anjaneyasana. Inhale, begin to press up. Right hip draws back. Draw your blocks back with you. You can even heel toe your right foot forward slightly. Flex through your right foot. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, lower just a little bit, coming to a gentle half split to start. And holding. Begin to walk yourself back up. Move your blocks out of the way. Heel toe your right foot to the right. Right hand draws to the inside of the right foot. Tuck your back toes. Lift your left knee. So we're in this wide lizard pose. Pause here. Pressing your low hip. Think about separating your sits bones. You can come down onto your forearms, or you can grab a block and place that under your forearms. So just noticing what support you might need this morning. Lowering down, really stretching through the hips. So we're going to get into our pelvis quite a bit this morning in this short practice. Just trying to move stuck energy from there, allowing us to come back to the center of ourselves. Press up to your hands, curl your fingertips towards the left. And on your fingertips, we're going to take a little stretch towards the corner of your mat. So really strong in this pose here. Strong through your legs. Really deep hip opening. Use your breath as we hold. Inhale, begin to press up to center. Heel toe your left foot in. Grab your blocks once again. Begin to straighten through your front leg. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. Exhale, stretch over your front leg, drawing your right hip back. Inhale, lengthen forward, release your blocks, and then spin all 10 toes around to the side of your mat. And I'm going to turn and face you. Feet come parallel. lengthen through your spine. Fingertips under your shoulders. Exhale, lower down. Walk your hands back between your feet. Use your breath. Come back to the center of yourself. This is a great practice to do with your eyes closed. Really helps you draw in and release some of that stress and anxiety that you might be feeling right now. Inhale, come on up to your fingertips. Hands to your waist, little bend in your knees. Inhale, rise all the way up. Arms out to a T, 5-pointed star. Heel toe your feet in just a little bit. We're going to take a twist. So letting your right hand come to the outside of your left foot, fingertips face towards the back. You can keep a little bend in your left knee. Left fingertips reach up, twisting to the left. Inhale, rise back to center. And we'll take it to the other side. Exhale. Left fingertips facing towards the right heel. Twist, twist, twist. I know it's early, so that little bend in your knee will probably help. Inhale, lift. And we'll take it again to each side. Exhale, twist. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Frame your front foot. Step back to a plank. Send hips high. Downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Lift your gaze. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin. Untuck toes. Inhale, press up to cobra. Exhale, lower. Send your hips back to child's pose for just a breath. Inhale, press up. Tuck your toes. Send hips high. Downward facing dog. Gaze forward. Bend through both knees. Exhale, top of your mat. Grab for your big toes. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold it in. A little deeper in our forward fold now. Release your big toes. Inhale, rise up. Flat back. Arms come overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Coming to Tadasana, find your grounding. Fingertips release down. Strong through your feet. Think about drawing your femurs back into their sockets. Engaging through the core. Inhale, arms lift overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold, plant your palms, make your way back, downward facing dog. Taking the same series on our left side. Inhale, begin to draw your left knee towards your nose, step it all the way through, runner's lunge, grab your blocks. Press your right hip down, inhale, lift your gaze. Stay for the exhale. Drop your right knee down. Keep pressing your right hip forward, left hip draws back, keeping the support of the blocks. Exhale, begin to crawl your blocks back. Heel toe your left foot forward. Flex through your left toes. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold just a little bit, drawing your left hip back. Pausing for a few breaths. Bend through your front knee, curl yourself back up. You can set your blocks aside, or if you need them for your lizard pose, you can set them up. Place your left hand inside your left foot, heel toe your left foot over. Tuck your right toes, lift your back knee. Lift your gaze for just a moment, and then lengthen your neck. Let your right hip fall slightly down, lower. You can come down onto your forearms or place blocks under your forearms. Really big stretch through your left hip flexor and your right hip flexor. Inhale, press up. Curl your fingertips over to the diagonal. Moving my block out of the way, stretch pretty long, lowering your right hip. Imagine separating the sits bones long through the left side body. Inhale, come back through center. Grab your blocks, heel toe your left foot back to the midline. Straighten through your left leg. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold over your left knee. And breathe here for a few rounds, really lengthening through the hamstrings. One more breath. Bend through your front knee, move your blocks out of the way. Crawl yourself around to the side of your mat. Feet are parallel. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold it in. Maybe this time grabbing for your ankles or the inside of your big toes just to add that little bit of extra leverage. And fold all the way in. Let your eyes come to a close. Once again, noticing the symmetry of your body. Sits bones go high and spread wide. You can keep a little bend in your knees. One more breath. Noticing the expansion of your body on the inhale. And exhale, everything softens. Maybe you go in a little deeper. Release your big toes. Prop yourself up slightly. Hands to hips. Little bend in your knees. Inhale, rise up. Draw your heels in just a little bit if you have a wide stance. Arms come out to the side. And we're going to take that same twist. So, twisting to your left, right fingertips come down. Left arm expands towards the sky. Inhale, lift up to center. Exhale, take the twist to your right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, back through center. Cartwheel your hands down. Palms plant. Step back to high plank. Hips go up. Downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin. Untuck toes. Inhale, press up to cobra. Exhale, lower down. Send your hips back to your heels. Just a breath, child's pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend through both knees, gaze forward. Exhale, top of your mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, lower. Inhale, ground down, rise up, high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center. And release your fingertips down. Tadasana. Notice how you're feeling in this moment. How the hips begun to loosen up, hamstrings are a little bit more agile, mobile. Come back to the center of you. Take that soft gaze to your third eye. Ground down. Gently open your eyes. We're going to make our way into frog pose. And this is sort of our peak pose, if you will, for class. So if you have a blanket and you have hardwood floors, I highly recommend unfolding your blanket to place it under your knees. And if you have hardwood floors, you can actually just place it under one side so it can slide. If you don't know frog pose, and I've got carpet, so I'm not going to use it here, but you are going to bring your knees out to the side, hands under your shoulders, ankles directly behind your knees, and you're going to have, this little bit of stretch here. Then lower down onto your forearms, and you don't want to be all the way back. So you're kind of in this line, if that makes sense. Your torsos and hips are aligned with your knees. Flex your feet to protect your knees and lower down as much as is comfortable. Some people like this pose. A lot of people find it really challenging. And it is a little bit hard on your knees, so that's why I recommend the blanket. But I've got 2 layers of carpet here, so I think I'm good. And you can stack fists, you can stack palms, you can stay up on your forearms. And we're just going to begin to breathe. Drawing your eyes closed and relaxing into the pose. It's a really gentle class we have today. When we push so hard all the time, sometimes we lose sight of the days that it's important to regroup, pulling all those fragmented pieces back together. And your brain's going 100 miles an hour. Doing a practice that goes 100 miles an hour may not help. You might find it more challenging to do a slow practice on those days. One more breath. Gently press your palms up, send your hips back, and you can kind of bring your knees back together. And let's come to a simple twist. Extending your right leg straight out in front of you, left foot comes over top. Left hand behind, lengthen through your spine, ground down through the sits bones. Right arm lifts. Exhale, take a twist to your left. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, twist a little deeper. And inhale, come back through center. Maybe even take a little counter twist. That always feels good on my spine. And then switch out your legs. The left leg is long, right foot comes over top. Right hand behind, press down. And your hand should be back here. Make sure it's right behind your spine. Inhale, lengthen the left arm up. Exhale, take a twist to your right. And as you inhale, once again, lengthen. You can come out of the twist a little bit. Exhale, twist a little deeper. And then release, gentle counter twist to the left. And lower on down to your back. So, nice, slow, gentle class today. And we're going to take that dynamic bridge pose that we started class with. So, fingertips touch heels, shoulder blades come under. Press your low back. Inhale, lift up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press your low back. Inhale, lift. 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Press your low back. Inhale up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, send your heart a little higher. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Let your feet come together, knees go wide. Roll your shoulder blades under, palms face the ceiling. Supta Baddha Konasana. And just relax into this pose for a few breaths. Gently blink your eyes open. Let your knees come together. Let your feet come wide. Pause for a moment just to neutralize your spine. And then just taking about a 1-minute Shavasana. You can extend your legs out. Feet come out to the corners of your mat. Shoulder blades under, palms face the sky. Draw your eyes closed. Let your breath soften. Coming back to your noticing of the expansion of your body on the inhale, the softening on the exhale. It's like this pulsation of breath. And I like to think of the pieces of me expanding apart in all directions on the inhale and then coming back together on the inhale. Just noticing the energy flowing through the body. Noticing the symmetry of this pose and the symmetry of your body with the breath. Expanding in all directions, 360 degrees. Focusing on the third eye center. Softening the gaze, allowing the eyes to rest easy in the sockets, forehead relaxes. Gently begin to make small movements, wiggling fingers and toes. Larger movements, moving wrists and ankles. Drawing knees into chest as gently as possible. Roll it onto one side and make your way up to a seated position. And I thank you so much for joining me in this nice slow practice this week. Coming into the center of yourself, knowing you can always come back here at any point in time to find your breath, find your symmetry, find the center of you. It's a really great technique for calming stress and anxiety throughout your day. Gently draw your hands to heart center, bow chin to chest. It's with much gratitude that I'm able to practice with you today. The light, the student, and the teacher in me honors the light, the student, and the teacher in you. Drawing your thumb knuckles to the third eye, center of our forehead. Together we bow and say Namaste. Namaste. Drop me a message, send me a comment. Please let me know thoughts, feedback. As always, I welcome your input, and I love to interact with everyone. And thank you guys for watching. So much appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. Namaste.